He's out. Gillum Jones is out. Can it get over the top of Anderson? Cracks all the way back in. It does. And he's locked in for what a goal!
Inundated. So popular.
So if that parking inspector comes back again, Joshy, mate, 6 fines already this year. Got to be careful. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the 2022 Rugby Victoria Big Dance. It is grand final day out here at Endeavour Hills. I'm your host this afternoon, Gerard McClenaghan. Joining me in the commentary box is former Uruguay first fly half Josh Rickard Ford, and we are moments away from kickoff in the Dewar Shield Grand Final. Powerhouse up against Harlequins. Joshy, what a day of upsets it's been already.
Exactly right, G. It's been an amazing day so far down here at Frog Hollow Reserves in Endeavour Hills. And that last game, the Premiership, we saw an upset to an undefeated Brimbank side by Kiwi Hawthorn with a couple of last-ditch penalty goals there. And you may be able to hear at home a support for the Powerhouse side as they make their way out onto the field today. And this first grade matchup with the Dewar Shield should certainly be one that lives up to the standard we've seen so far today.
And Joshy, I heard rumours. I wasn't going to believe it until I saw it with my own eyes, but Powerhouse being led out by Jared Eberhardt, their inspirational skipper and hooker. We saw him go down 2 weeks ago against Moorabbin in the knockout minor semi-final. Everyone said that was his season done and dusted, and it now makes sense why Coach Eric Tom didn't release his team list during the week. It's because the big news out of Frog Hollow this afternoon is Eberhardt to start for Powerhouse, and that is a huge inclusion for the underdogs.
Yeah, exactly right. I think any team getting an inspirational leader on the paddock is massive, especially on grand final day. And I think, yeah, we are as surprised as most people here to see him actually on the field there after he succumbed to that knee injury in the semi-final a couple of weeks ago. And be interesting to see how much he can get through with the game today. Has got it strapped up, and you dare say that the Harlequins players will be aware that he might not be at quite 100% today, so they may want to test him out on a few occasions. We'll
run through the team list quickly before the national anthem, starting with Powerhouse. Front row of Maxie Watson, Eberhardt, and the big Shamrock, Ant Whelan, Loxer, Lukey Watson, and Will Mitten, with the back row of Megason, Teo, and Umu. The halves are Thomas Bramley and Kean McGovern, with the wings Sean Neem and Louis Tony. A very lethal midfield, Geordie Schmidt and Justin Ta'ai, and Jonty Garrett. A surprise inclusion at fullback after injury to Lukey Schmidt. And of course, they're coached by Eric Tom.
Yeah, exactly right. And the table-topping Harlequins side will line up as Payonga, Lyon and Rooston in the front row. Gray and Lightfoot will be your second rowers. The back row made up of Richard Hardwick, Stefan DeSunis and Palau Finau-Vea. We can hear you. The half pairing, Van Zyl and Cummings. The wingers, Gilding and Mace, with the centre pairing of Owade and Blair, and Taylor Atchison at the back, of course coached by Chris Allen.
We now have a welcome or acknowledgement of country.
To one of our main events, the grand final of the Dewar Shield. But before we begin our Rugby Victoria 2022 Senior Grand Final, I'd like to invite our traditional custodian, Daniel Hume, from the Bunurong country.
Thanks, bro. My name's Daniel. I'm a traditional custodian for the land that we've all meted on today, and I'd just like to welcome you in country. So, Woman Jika, Marama, Big Balak, and congratulations to both sides, and have a good game. I have no idea what's going on here today about this game. Sweet. It looks a bit rougher than AFL. That's all I can say. Yeah, go hard. Good luck.
Thank you, Daniel. Daniel Hume from Bunurong country, a traditional custodian. Could I get everybody up standing, please? Please join me, Rugby Victoria, Melbourne Rebels, and Rugby Australia. Good luck to Powerhouse and to Harlequins.
The traditional national anthem played before every Dewar Shield Grand Final, touching tribute to the 4 Australian-born players out on the field this afternoon.
You're a funny man, Gerard.
Harlequins, your minor premiers,
Quickly, if you've lost some Toyota,
will be running left to right in the first half, folks, in their traditional quartered jerseys up against Powerhouse, who I might add, Joshy, their supporters are pretty well lubricated already after they took home the 3rd grade premiership about an hour ago. And, well, I'll tell you what, there were scenes on the far field when they got up over in Devi Hills, and some of that partying has spilled over here now to Field 1. And, well, you often wonder about that, you know, when you've got the club in good spirits. It does have a lifting effect, of course, as well. 2nd grade, Harlequins got up over the Unicorns in 2, so both of these clubs taking part in 1st grade. They've already got one premiership to their name already this afternoon, so plenty of reasons to celebrate if they win the big one as well.
Absolutely. It doesn't get any bigger than this in the Club Rugby Stakes in Victoria. And, yeah, I think both teams will certainly fancy their chances with the success that Harlequins have had this season to get to the top of the table for first time in quite a long time. And Powerhouse, of course, have had what's been a bit of a fairy tale run in the last month or so, with a number of come-from-behind wins when they look down and out. And the Harlequins boys were there watching on the semi-final game that they played against the Unicorns last week, and certainly just sort of gave them a bit of a wake-up call, where I think despite finishing 4th on the ladder, Powerhouse, Harlequins certainly have got their hands full with the capabilities of this side here today. And just a few minutes away now from kickoff as we see these teams going through a few final warm-ups to make sure they are ready and raring to go for this game. What's your pick for today, Gerard?
Well, love an underdog story, but my head says Harlequins, minor premiers by a whopping 10 points. They've had an outstanding season. It's hard to go past them. But, as we will remind our viewers, 2 games already played on field, one here this afternoon, the Lindroth Cup and the Premiership Grand Final. The underdog won in both matches. Huge boil-overs, including Brimbank, who went through the season undefeated, losing to Kiwi Hawthorn immediately before this match. So maybe it's the day of the underdogs, Joshy.
Certainly could be, and I'm not prepared to count Powerhouse out after their recent string of wins. So I think we will have a great matchup on our hands today. We've actually got someone dressed as Harry Potter from the Wizarding World just next to us down here, so maybe we can ask him for a bit of insight. Well,
Mad Monday celebrations must have begun already. I can only guess he's from, I don't know, is that one of the Griffins?
I'm not sure. It's
Maroondah, one of the Maroondah entourage.
The oldest Harry Potter I've seen.
So it'll be Harlequins running left to right in the grand final in the first half in the quartet jersey. And Powerhouse in the green and black hoops running right to left. A big hello to everyone around the world who's tuned in to the Rugby Victoria Facebook page to watch the grand final. Our first grand final in 3 years. And we are all set for what will be an epic 80 minutes. Referee Ollie Kellett looks for the 2 skippers, gets the thumbs up from Jared Eberhardt. And the big dance has arrived. Powerhouse claim the kickoff. And running right to left in the first half. Bramley works it to the right. He had McGovern in the pocket. They decide to run it, though, as an exit. And is brought down on the touchline. McGovern now wanted to pass out the back. They rushed up quickly in the midfield, so he took it into contact. Smart play from the number 10. Eberhardt, tip of the spear. Oh, a knock on from Thomas Bramley. And the man who was only named in the Meat Pie Merit 15 a matter of 2 weeks ago comes up with the first error of the afternoon.
Yeah, just a steady start to the game. Both teams just trying to figure each other out at the breakdown initially and see what this sort of contest is going to look like for the day. And we'll be straight into our first scrum, which we know Powerhouse so strong at set-piece time, but Harlequins got plenty of options all over the park, so they will fancy any opportunity they get.
To be a tester for Eberhard as well. First game back from injury, goes down on the near side, so they'll have to repack. But yeah, that's the huge storyline pre-game out here at Frog Hollow this afternoon. The late inclusion of Jared Eberhardt at hooker for the Powerhouse team. And, well, great thing that he can start, but, oh my gosh, what does that mean for Tuigamala, who is an absolute weapon? He's going to come on the field at some point, no doubt, and lift the energy as well for Powerhouse. Yeah,
you imagine he'll get a decent amount of minutes today, just with Eberhardt maybe not quite at 100%.
So Oscar Gilding sitting in the 10's pocket here on the right. Long arm penalty. First battle goes to Harlequins at set piece, and that'll do their confidence a world of good against what is a real strength of Powerhouse, their scrum.
Yeah, absolutely. And peeled off some good distance with that one, has Cummings. So now get that first line-out opportunity and chance to set a potential drive with a full line-out straight away.
They'll set up about 10 or 12 metres, in fact, from the Powerhouse line. Here's a chance to see how their maul goes. Let's not forget Coach Chris Allen tips. Oh, coming around the corner. Managed to keep possession here as Lion goes for a bit of a rumble. They find Payongo. Oh, they race up quickly on him. Slight knock on, though. And Joshy, having a chat with Chris Allen during the week, the coach of Harlequins, and we put it to him who's going to be first try scorer this afternoon, and he did nominate Jake Lyon, so which I thought was interesting. Obviously suggesting that a maul getting it to the back to the hooker, and we know that the maul is actually Powerhouse's strength, so wouldn't that be something if it was actually Quins who were able to get the first try of the match through that noted strength of Powerhouse?
Are you dismissing that they've got a set move with Jake Lyon out in the centres?
Oh, is that the curveball I haven't considered?
They've got to have a few tricks at grand final day, surely.
Van Zyl goes digging. Cummings flat. Wide cut pass looking for Blair. Great. Blair with the footwork, and Angus Blair crosses for the first of the 2022 Dewar Shield.
Just a bit of footwork there, strong off the right foot, and he caught Justin Tutai all ends up, and we've touched on it in some of the earlier games so far today, just how soft the ground is underfoot. And I think that step back on the inside there is going to be a real powerful tool, especially with the speed that the first grade players are playing at. And Justin Tutai just couldn't come across and match up on Angus Blair there. So first try to the Quins, and they'll be happy with that start. But I'm quite intrigued to see how that 13 battle plays out for the rest of this game. Yeah,
Justin Tutai, we've had the luxury of seeing him play quite a few games in the flesh this year, Josh. He's been, if not the best, one of the top 5 players in the Dewar Shield this year. Absolute weapon. And part of the reason they're actually here at the big dance today, he's been a sensation the last 2 weeks in particular. And, well, first blood, though, to Angus Blair in the battle of the centres. Cummins splits the uprights, and Harlequins race out to a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, certainly making the most of a couple of early penalties and territory opportunities there. So Powerhouse will be keen to try and turn those tables around pretty quickly so that they don't fall behind too far.
McGovern. It's a real bog in the middle of the pitch for those watching at home. We've seen a few errors already. Kickers are really struggling to get it off the ground too far because the ball really sits on that centre square here out at Frog Hollow. So most of the kicks have been quite flat from restarts today. So keep an eye out for that. As Harlequins look to run it out of their own half. Payongo with the carry on that occasion. And Cummins, well, puts the torpedo up. That's a bit of a test start for Jonty Garrett. Claims it though, and looks for Umu, one of the danger men for Powerhouse. They stack the right-hand side, decide to go to McGovern in the pocket, and the governor peels off about 45 metres on the fly. Cummins works it to the right. Aitchison, good kick chase, so he decides to play it safe and put it on the shoe. Louis Tony now takes it above his head. Shapes the kick, decides to run, and finds a few support players around him. So they'll retain possession on the 10-metre line. As they play out the back. McGovern, space on the left now. 3-on-1. Schmidt puts it through the hands. Tutai puts it on the shoe. Well picked up off the ground by Cummins. McGovern lets it bounce, so Jonty Garrett will go back and collect. And pumps that into touch. Right onto the Powerhouse bench, and we'll have a line out on halfway.
Yeah, good little interchange of play there from both teams as Powerhouse found a bit of space out on this near side of the field. And, yeah, Justin Tutai just playing safety first, trying to peel off a bit of territory without running it, but interested to see if they keep with those wide tactics.
Lightfoot claims it at the front, and they work it into the midfield straight away. Blair with the cut pass, creating space. Hardwick hands, finds Aitchison. 2-on-1 on the left edge, putting away Gilding. Gilding in open space. Brought down just inside the 22, and in the blink of an eye, they go coast to coast.
Yeah, some great ball work there. Just seeing the crispness of some of these passes from the Harlequins players, really finding the target well and creating plenty of space for the men on the outside there. And Oscar Gilding just wrapped up into touch on that occasion, who's got to be arguably the best finisher in the competition. So don't want to give him too much space.
They set up the maul, Powerhouse. Still inside the 22, so they can put it out on the full if they so choose. Bramley darts down the short side, finds something, and Tony's away. Tony up to halfway, puts a number on Gilding. Gilding grasps him from behind. Great tackle from the winger. That's going to be an interesting matchup all afternoon, Joshy.
Yeah, one apiece there in the last two phases. So I think both wingers with a good bit of toe and some nifty footwork. So be interesting to see if anyone can really trump the other.
So they've called a short line out. They've got Hardwick loitering in the midfield. Coming. Cheeky little chip kick. Not a bad tactic on slippery surface. And Jonty Garrett claims it. Counter ruck comes. They'll have to get numbers back here, Powerhouse, to retain possession, and they do. And Bramley slows it at the base. They work it to Megason. They load the short side. They've got a massive number overlap. Umu takes it to the line, gets laid offload away, finds Ta'ai. He's brought down by Hardwick. The Wallaby playing in number 6 this afternoon as they dish it to Eberhardt. And there goes the skipper with his first carry of the afternoon. Dirty ball here for Bramley. So they play out the back, and Garrett brought down quickly, and there's the turnover. Destonis goes for a run. Destonis, what about the speed from the man? Gets the offload to Gilding, and Harlequins were almost in again.
Yeah, Stefan Destonis there. He's certainly been an absolute player to watch this year. Real standout for Harlequins across the whole season with a big skill set, whether it be finding space, getting offloads away, winning pilfers, or really seen him put in a few crafty kicks throughout the season as well. So a man of many talents there, and I think he'll be quite a decisive figure in how this game plays out today.
Yeah, I heard an interesting story about him during the week. Lobbed up to pre-season at Quins, running around, just one of the boys, softly spoken. Started 3rd grade, and within 2 weeks he's running around 1st grade. A few investigations from some of the boys at the club revealed that from New Zealand, played Heartland Cup for a couple of years. Apparently he was best player in the Heartland Cup for 3 years in a row. You would never know because he doesn't have big tickets on himself. But an absolute beast. And of course, one of the players out here today who was named in that meat pie Merit 15. So they got big raps on this open side flanker. Obviously, you've got to be good to displace the Wallaby and Richard Hardwick from his preferred position.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think got to go with whatever combination works, despite prior credentials or anything else like that.
As McGovern pulls off about 20 metres with that kick.
Just seen the first few scrums pretty much all go to ground, and just each front row trying to find each other out a little bit at the moment, but referee Ollie Kellett finding a penalty on that occasion.
To the back they go. Well taken there by Megason. Tip pass out, looking for Manny. Counter ruck comes, and Lyon generates the penalty for Quins.
Yeah, there's a couple of real good pilferers for both sides on the ground today. So that first man following up the ball runner to try and seal off and maintain possession is going to be really pivotal for both sides.
Ant Van Zyl points towards the sticks. And in grand final footy, why wouldn't you take the 3 points when they're on offer? Now, we've seen there the comeback kids of the competition, Powerhouse, have been trailing, the last 5 matches at half-time and still found a way to win all of those games.
By considerable margins too.
Yeah. You don't want to be giving this Quins outfit too many points, Joshy.
No, certainly a classy side, and you think if they are able to run out to any sort of decent lead, that they're more than capable of defending that till the full-time whistle. But, you know, we've certainly thought that in previous weeks where we've seen, you know, Powerhouse down by 17 points at halftime to Moorabbin and 14 points last week to the Unicorns, and they've come back from both of those deficits to win and get through to the grand final today.
Penalty unsuccessful by Luke Cummings, so scores remain at 7 points to 0, and Powerhouse will have the 22 restart. get us back underway. No breeze out here at Frog Hollow this afternoon. Beautiful 19 degrees. The most beautiful day of rugby I think we've had this entire season, as McGovern goes long and picks out Gilding in the backfield. Chance now for Bayongo with the carry. That's solid from the prop, setting up play in the middle of the field. They've got numbers on the right as well. Wade taking it to the line. Gets up to the 10-metre line. Van Zyl barking orders. Go for the pick and go, and it spits out somehow for Hardwick to clean up. As now they work it to the left. Numbers, chance on the left edge. Lyon looks to find Gilding, unmarked. Gilding tries to put a number on, breaks free. Oscar Gilding, what a finish.
Put that one down to the crafty hands of two front rowers there. That was big Sitivini Payongo, who went to throw the pass initially and saw the jamming of the defender and did great to hold it up and allow him to pass before sending a wide pass out to hooker Jack Lyon, who then sent out another bullet to Oscar Gilding, and a little in and away with those long limbs, just too much for the defender to handle there, and he plants himself over the line to add to the scoreline now. 12 points to 0 in favour of Harlequins.
Well, it's a well-oiled machine that's worked incredibly well this entire season. Chris Allen has got this team humming. It's really interesting to see last week when we were at that prelim, Joshy. Of course, they weren't playing, so they had the week off. And the whole first grade side turned up. Admittedly, they were playing the prelims last week at their home ground out at Harlequins, but sitting behind the goalposts, they had a keg.
Good bonding session.
Bonding session in the prelim, watching the two teams play, having a grand old time, as that kick is unsuccessful. And it struck me as a club that seems to really enjoy each other's company, that have a really good off-field culture, this first grade side for Harlequins this year.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think, it's pretty evident in most teams when you have that sort of morale and type of feeling that you want to play for your mates. And I know every team that I've been involved with in the past, when we've had great sort of off-field bonding and catch-ups and that sort of thing, we've played our best footy. So you can see that with the Harlequin squad this year.
Gilding claims the kickoff. And, well, again, happy to settle it through for now, Vaya. Van Zyl slows the breakdown down. Eberhardt comes with the counter ruck. It creates for a real mess at the back, and Destonis has to clean up. He gets the quick tap. Destonis the 7. Well, they weren't 10 metres, so they'll take an advantage from that, and they play quickly down the short side. Enterprising stuff. Hardwick trying to create metres. They're up over halfway already, and they get the long arm penalty. I fancy they'll slow it down this time, but Destonis with the quick tap turned out to be the right call from inside his 22.
Yeah, good awareness there, just to have that sort of heads-up play. I think got the ball in hands and you're ready to go, and you know that they're never going to get back to the 10, then you may as well take your chances with the tap and at least peel off that extra 10 metres. But, yeah, just one of the other traits that we've touched on of Stefan Destonis there, who is going to be a big player today.
They claim it through Jono Lightfoot at the front. Try to set up the maul. It doesn't come off for them, so Lyon has to peel away. Brought down by Ant Whelan. Just outside the 22. Here comes the counter ruck. And there's the turnover as well. McGovern sits in the pocket. Puts it high. The crowd giving it to Gilding. He takes it with ease, though. Gets chopped down on the 10-metre line. Van Zyl looking left and right, decides to play to his centre on the right, and Wade with the strong carry there. Umu tries to make a play at the breakdown, can't make it stick, and Van Zyl thought he saw something around the fringes. That gap closed pretty quick smart though. Ball spits out the back. Lightfoot, the show and go. Brought by Schmidt in the tackle, but yeah, didn't roll away quick enough. So a chance perhaps for another 3 points for Quins.
Yeah, early penalties mounting against this powerhouse side. That's the 6th sort of penalty or advantage that they've had go against them today, and just allowing Harlequins to certainly win this territory battle early in the game, and it's given them the attacking opportunity so far that have already ended up in 2 tries, so they'll be wary of trying to hold them out on this occasion.
Well, I'm not sure if that's because he's missed a couple of kicks, Luke Cummings, but they turned down a pretty easy 3 points on that occasion to go to the corner. They've got their foot to the throat at the moment, Harlequins, and I'll tell you what, if they can find a try here and go up by 19 points within the first quarter of this match, well, that's the type of lead which even the comeback kids might not be able to reel back.
Yeah, it's easy for it to blow out when you can go up in 7s at a time, and yeah, it'd be important for skipper Jared Eberhard here to make sure that his troops are all on the same page and bringing that intensity up to the level that it needs to be to try and hold out a classy side like the Quins.
So just waiting on a bit of attention being shown to a couple of players. Fancy that's Will Mitten getting some attention from the medic staff. So there were some hints, some suggestions from Chris Allen during the week that they might have a special play for Jake Lyon up their sleeve, the hooker from Harlequins, whether that's just something as simple as a typical rolling ball try, Joshy with the hooker at the back, or maybe they've got something interesting planned at line-out time. But Lyon, a man to watch, the hooker for Harlequins.
Early change here.
Oh, yep, huge change. It looks like Shannon Love is going to enter the field. And, well, a bit of attention being shown to Will Mitten.
Looks like an arm injury for him.
Yeah, no good. So they claim the line out, set up the maul immediately. And Jakey Lyon gets to the back. Lyon waiting patiently, steering the ship left, right, and over the try line.
Well, Coach Chris Allen called it, and obviously a focal point for the Quins team throughout the week. Really well-structured maul there that they just marched over the line, and very simple put down there for the hooker Jake Lyon. Lead now 17 points to 0 with a kick to come in favour of the Quins. And they are certainly looking like the team that has finished in first place today.
Yep, showing exactly why they were the favourites here this afternoon in the Jewish Shield Grand Final. And, well, Chris Allen, he tipped it when we had a chat earlier this week. He said he thought Lyon was going to cross the chalk at some point. First try scorer, in fact, he was tipping. Was it third of the afternoon? So, not far wrong. But what makes that all the more impressive is the line out, the set piece for Powerhouse undoubtedly has been their strength of late. So to actually get one over them in an area of the game which they would have considered themselves to have the upper hand in, that's huge. Cummings adds the extra 2.
Yeah, well, got an interesting beard there on
say.
Luke Cummings. That's been dyed peroxide blonde.
He's got the beard, which is blonde. He's gone to the same barber that Maradona, their S&C coach, has gone to. He's got the rainbow haircut, which he's sporting this afternoon. Just fun and games, eh? Grand final week. So the governor fakes right, kicks to the left, flat kick. That's going to favour Aitchison. Total bravery shown there by the fullback. Destonis has to clean up at the back. Just buys a little bit of time, and here comes the push from Schmidt into touch. Well, McLaughlin, the touchy, doesn't put his flag up, so play on. And now they put it to the shoe. This will be a tester for Umu. Umu takes it. Safe as a bank. And Powerhouse will start their set just inside their own half. Maxie Watson, shape to tip, took it into contact. He loses about 2 metres on the play. So Brownlee is encouraged to go down the short side. He finds Umu again. Late offload, Neem. Inside ball finds Schmidt. Schmidt, good run there. Plenty of metres to be found on the short side for Powerhouse. The Shamrock with a tip pass. Eberhardt goes through his fingertips. And it comes up for Harlequins. Well, bouncing ball favours the Brave, and on this occasion it was Quins. Aitchison has a bit of a dart back into the middle of the field and eventually puts it on the shoe. Well, did Neem knock that on? Backwards, says the referee. And eventually Neem is brought down 15 metres in from touch. Bramley slows it down. Again, they come back to this short side. Umu with the offload and tie. Well, fumbles it with no one in front of him. But already we're seeing plenty of short side raids from Powerhouse, Joshy.
Yeah, and that already the fourth offload there for Viliame Umu, who's just unreal with his passes around the corner. And we saw that was actually one of the turning points in the game last week for the Powerhouse side. So super skill set there for the number 8, and he's created a few half opportunities just in the last couple of minutes there for Powerhouse, but just unable to really break the line fully and capitalise on any momentum from that.
So Quinn's put in. Interesting shape here. They've got their three-quarter line all standing very flat, about 5 metres behind Luke Cummins. As well, plenty of pressure being put on at the base of that scrum, so Cummins has to take it into contact. McGovern, his opposite number, takes him to grass. Van Zyl demanding his forwards get around the corner. Oh, and they race up quickly there on Cam Gray. To the left they go again. Destonis. They wrap him up pretty quickly. Slow ball here. Rooston goes to halfback. Finds Hardwick. Tries to put a bit of a step on. Great post-contact meters from the number 6. Now they swing it to the right, but there's been a knock on.
Yeah, certainly no lack of momentum from the Quinn side anytime. They're stringing a few phases together, but that occasion just lost the ball forward, and probably a bit of a sigh of relief there for Powerhouse boys as they look just to try and catch their breath and try to work their way back into this game as we come into the sort of second portion of this first half.
Of course, Powerhouse playing their first grand final today since 2011. That was a loss to the Unicorns on that occasion. But last premiership was 2008, Joshy. And you know who they beat that day?
Harlequins.
Harlequins
Massive
by
scrum.
1 point. Great shove put on there. Slight knock on, so it's going to be a Powerhouse feed. But yes, 2008 since their last premiership, Joshy. 15-14 victors over Quins on that occasion. And I just wonder if that was mentioned in the team talks at training during the week.
Yeah, I think whenever you're confident in a playing group, you always want to recognise the significance and the importance of the opportunities you get to play in a grand final and trying to make the most of them, especially when it has been just a few years between drinks. And the Powerhouse boys, they haven't had too much in the way of possession or territory so far in this game, but no, they're capable, so they will try and grind their way back into it.
Picking up off the back is Umu. Hardwick eventually brings him to grounds. Doesn't get a chance to make a play, so they work it to the left. McGovern puts it through their hands. Schmitz holds it up, brought down by O'Wade. The outside backs pale in, and they work it back into the middle. That's a good run there, as Megason is brought down, but doesn't release it, Joshy.
Yeah, these penalties really starting to add up and be costly for Powerhouse, just allowing the Quins opportunity after opportunity to get down their end and mount further attacking raids. Cummings will put this one down into the corner, and that's about as close as you can ask for.
Well, the pre-match fan poll, who do you think will win the grand final? There was over 450 votes across the Victorian community, and 58% tipped Quins today. And I fancy, though, the bulk of the undecided here are probably cheering for Powerhouse, the underdog, Joshy.
It's always the way, isn't it?
It is. As they set up another maul, we know what happened last time they did this, Quins. Lyon at the back, directing his troops in front of him. He peels away late, and Lyon is the pride of Quins.
Double on the board for the number 2, and we see again the power of a well-constructed maul. Only had to go the 5 metres that time, but another important strike there for the Harlequins as they extend this big first half lead out further and further, and really starting to get to the point now where Powerhouse need to put the foot down and hit the scoreboard next.
It has shades, Joshy, of the last Dewar Shield Grand Final, 2019. Melbourne v Box Hill. Box Hill, of course, had a huge upset in the prelim, beating Harlequins, and Melbourne Unicorns were the front runners all year. And Box Hill went into the grand final, and I think at half-time they were down something like 23 points to 3. You often see that those teams who get up in the prelim, the underdogs, as Cummings nails it right in front of the Quins faithful. You do see it from time to time. Sometimes these teams can peak a week early. They play their grand final in the prelim when they get that upset win, and it can be hard sometimes to double it up or back up the week after in the grand final, particularly when you're playing the top-seeded team. As McGovern needs to try to get this ball to bounce on that centre wicket. Kicks it from about 2 metres behind, just so he can get a better bounce. As for now, Vaya goes for a damaging carry. Pick and go quickly by Hardwick. Hardwick is through. Needs support. Can't find it. Finally gets an offload away, but Destonis was a little bit too late to the situation. So Powerhouse will come away with it through Tony, and he can't escape the clutches of O'Wade in the middle of the field. Numbers on the left. McGovern decides to kick it, though, and will return for the offside. But what about the eyes up rugby there from Richard Hardwick?
Yeah, just can see the value of that experience he's got at the top level. And he's done that a couple of times now, where rather than going over and making that clean out as the first man there, he's just had a really quick pickup and scooted off down the field to pick up 20 or 30 metres and put his team on the front foot. Offload just not quite finding the right man on that occasion, but see the danger of him as a loose ball runner there.
Now, Joshy, I'll turn your attention to the sideline because it looks like big Will Mitten, who came off with that what appeared to be a shoulder injury. He looks pretty okay on the sideline and running up and down.
Yeah, contemplating possibly coming back on, just going through a couple of little tests there with the physio to see if the power's there.
Overthrow, they find Lyon, and Lyon puts it on the shoe. Love to see that.
What can't he do?
Front rowers who can kick. He's leading the chase as well. Jonty Garrett goes back, and Garrett can only peel off about half the distance that Lyon did, and he finds Gilding. So Gilding with the searching run. That's a good return from the wing and gets Quins in great territory.
Space and numbers on this right side.
Ow, and the breakdown work. First class from Powerhouse. Eberhardt taps and goes quickly. The skipper putting his hand up, trying to lead the team from the front. They get another penalty. And look at Eberhardt giving it to the crowd. He's trying to get them involved. They need something from their fans.
Yeah, a little momentum shifts there, and Powerhouse going to need all the support they can get, and obviously got to finish the work off on the field as well and really hit the scoreboard next.
McGovern peels off about 30 metres on the play, and we go to a line-out. Looks like they're going to have a full line. Well, as I say that, dropping out late is Williami Umu, the big battering ram, who will pop up at centre for Powerhouse. Overthrow, the big Shamrock comes away with it. McGovern. Late switch to Umu. Umu met hard by Destonis.
8 on 8 there.
Yeah. Here as well, two-man tackle. Schmidt gets an offload away. There's Ant Wheel and the big Shamrock taking numbers as they play out the back. Garrett trying to find space for Manny Te'o. Bramley, they're all set to the right. Finds Watson on a hard line. Now they play short to the big Shamrock. Here he goes again, up to the 22. Getting involved early is the big prop. They're inside enemy territory now. Great position to launch an attack. Ta'ai puts it on the shoe, looking for runners in the edge. Cleaned up by Cummings. Need to get support behind the ball here. Quinn's Ennett arrives. Taylor Aitchison there to save the day. Ball spits out the back. And O'Wade puts it through the hands. Hardwick pushes it out. Here comes Angus Blair. And look at the defence here from Powerhouse, pressuring this breakdown. Huge play in defence from Powerhouse, Joshy.
Yeah, great hustle there to get across the field in numbers and make sure the Quins couldn't get out of their own goal line there. And just the sort of momentum shift that the Powerhouse boys needed to see. And we've got a couple down in back play for them now. As in fact, we do see Will Mitten returning to the field. So he's passed his strength test there on the sideline. An added boost for the Powerhouse side here as they just look to gather their breath and their thoughts and figure out how they're going to hit back on this game here and get across the chalk.
Got to say, it's one of the best fitness tests I've ever seen. Will Mitten right in front of us. He's trying to prove to himself and to the trainer, rather, that he's good enough to go back on the field because he had a bit of a shoulder complaint. The trainer made him do 5 push-up claps in a row. So not just 5 push-ups, but every time he pushed himself up, he had to clap before he landed. Gave something something for the crowd to get excited about. You don't see that too often. I couldn't even do that if I was 100%. A-OK, Joshy.
You'd manage 10 easy. I'll tell you what, we're just seeing Luke Schmidt walk up the sideline, the regular fullback for Powerhouse, and can certainly see why he's not playing the way he's walking.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because Jonty Garrett is one of the players getting a bit of attention at the moment. And Schmitty, what have you done?
Workplace injury.
Workplace injury.
He didn't look that unhealthy last week.
So it is cause for concern if Jonty Garrett can't go on at fullback because, well, he seems to be up on his feet and he's okay now. But now the question is
it Bramley
who's down? So there's been a few injuries in that last passage of play. But the reason I bring up Garrett is because, yeah, like as you touched on, Lukey Schmidt, the regular fullback, he was ruled out after last week's game. He picked up that injury. So if anything was to happen to Jonty Garrett, they'd be down to their 3rd string fullback in a Jewish Shield Grand Final. That would be dangerous times.
Yeah, although it is Andrew Blannon there on the bench, who we have seen come on and make a pretty good impact the last couple of games.
Eberhardt with the first carry. Around the corner they come. Here's your man, Maxie Watson. Maxie Watson takes a lot of stopping. They set up back to the left. Flat ball there, looking for Mitten. Finds Umu instead. Umu turning around. Makes a late lunge, can't make it stick. Slow ball here at the back. They go the pick and go, and they're over. And you know who it is, Joshy?
That big man.
The big Shamrock.
It's 2 pies in the last 3 weeks for Ant Whelan, and just showing
Guinness pies, Joshy.
Oh, of course, the best kind. And he's in a little bit of strife after getting that ball down, but I think for the sort of 5 or 7 points that they're going to get from it, he'll be sort of saying it's probably worthwhile at this stage, although hopefully he's able to continue.
Well, I'll tell you what, as soon as he scored, it was interesting to see the reaction of his skipper, Jared Eberhardt, who was latching onto him when he fell over the line. Eberhardt called straight to the sideline as soon as he scored. So that's usually an indication that something's not right when you've got teammates shouting out to the sideline to get a medic on there. So we'll just see how he responds when he gets back up to his feet.
It's quite a sprightly return to his feet.
Yeah. Tony drills it. And there is life in this Powerhouse team. 26 plays 7. In the shadows of half-time.
Maybe they were just giving him a cheeky little Guinness pie on the ground there.
That's what it was.
A little booster. Good hit back from Powerhouse. I think as long as they're within a few tries, you can't rule them out.
Flat kickoff allowed to bounce. It goes over the head of Watson, and they've fumbled it. And Jono Lightfoot comes away with it. And they've got the advantage as well. There was a slight knock on. They work it to Nick Rooston. That's a good carry from the prop. He's up to the 22 already. Still refuses to find the grass. Now they unleash the backs. Wade gets it on the back foot. That won't stop his momentum. The centre cutting through. Wade, one man to beat. Lunges for the line. Held up. Wowee. What about that? He got that on the back foot and somehow turned nothing into something.
Yeah, great footwork and speed to get through the line there, and got oh so close. He was slowed down by Jonty Garrett before 3 or 4 powerhouse defenders lunged at him over the line to wrap him up. And yeah, because of that, it's going to be a dropout, which you think powerhouse probably much prefer over a 5-metre scrum.
Long they go, straight to Taylor Aitchison in the backfield, and here he is. For now, they up. Oh, sorry, Payongo. Strong carry to start the set. They work it quickly to the left. Cummins takes it to the line. Finds Aitchison. They're up to the 22 already. That clean out, yeah, that clean out didn't look straight. So 26-7, down by 19. Is that too big an advantage to Quins for Powerhouse to claw back in the second half, Joshy?
Yeah, I think it'll certainly be a tough one given the class of this the Harlequins outfit, but still a few minutes to go in this first half here, and if Powerhouse can manage to wrangle another try before that halftime whistle goes, then knowing how capable they've been in second halves recently, they will absolutely fancy their chances. Yeah, you fancy they probably need one more score at least before the break. They're going to reel in the minor premiers. Bramley fumbles it backwards. Destonis is all over it like a rash. And, well, was that a knock-on from the open side? There, yeah. Okay. Just that first attempt to pick up, I think he clipped it. So they'll get the set piece, Powerhouse, and, well, just outside of the midline between the two black dots. So it'll be interesting to see what formation they run here as Ollie Kellett blows his whistle. And the Tea and Coffee Brigade come running on the field. Yeah, done a good job so far today. Ollie Kellett refereeing this game in what is now his 6th Dewar Shield Grand Final, which makes him the leading referee of all. Sorry, I was informed earlier. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Oh, we're getting mixed messages here. So it is 6th Grand Final for Ollie Kellett. 6th Grand Final for Ollie Kellett, who overtakes Peter Mackay, who previously had done 5, to become the most capped Dewar Shield Grand Final referee, and also now won 6 Club Coach Referee of the Year awards, including the last 5. So got the respect and admiration of the coaches. So it was actually Paul Mackay who previously had the most games refereed with 5. So you fully qualified referee, Joshy. You've done it quite a few years now, post-retirement from the game. Referees do Mad Monday, is that a thing? Yeah, the whistles come out. I'd love to see that party. Midfield scrum, they're setting up with a 5-1 split Powerhouse. Just Tony on the right-hand side. The defending Cummins is the only flat back on the short side Harlequins, with Gilding in the backfield covering the kick. And I just wonder if Tony fancies his chances if he could try to get on the outside of Lukey Cummins there. We know Umu loves to peel off the back as well, Joshy. Yeah, exactly right. Have got Oscar Gilding sort of lurking a little bit behind that initial defensive line there. So I think they'll be ready for any little spread that they've got. So numbers on the open side, but we'll have that sliding defence from the half and back row. Umu goes down the short side. The turning scrum, though, did him no favours, so he gets chopped down pretty quickly. The pass to McGovern, not the best, so they're playing off the back foot.
as Garrett goes for a bit of a run. Late switch there to Neem. Neem beats the first, finds Ta'ai. Ta'ai bumps off Ant Van Seal, but the number 9 gets him to grass eventually. Jonty Garrett again finds Manny Te'o.
Got the advantage.
Well, they play out the back. McGovern with a little chip and chase. He knows he's got the advantage. And that is why he chanced his arm there. So we'll come back for the long arm.
Yeah, geez, after that that sort of little half break there from Ta'ai, getting tackled on this near sideline, there was no pillar post defender on this blind side. Only a couple of metres to work with, but had the man at the back of the ruck looked up for Powerhouse, there was open space to the try line.
Well, we were fearful this might happen when Jonty Garrett went down a little while ago, and Garrett, the fullback, as that kick beautifully, called out 7 metres from touch. Great touch finder.
I feel like we saw the same thing happen last week. It was a little different, but...
Yeah. Well, is it when it crosses the plane, Joshy, or whether or not it actually touches the turf outside? We had a different call last week, yeah. So, best opportunity of the afternoon for Powerhouse. Set piece play within sight of the try line. And the maul, their favourite weapon of choice. Mitten goes to the middle. Job 1, done. Pass it off.
Good counter
Finds
shove.
Megason. Spits out the back. Bramley has to pass inside to Umu. So they'll retain possession here as Eberhardt goes to halfback.
Advantage again.
Lukey Watson with the carry. Another long arm penalty, so they'll have another crack at it, Joshy.
And Jono Lightfoot for Queens are just clutching at his left arm after that maul.
And they need to score here. Down by 19 points going into the break. I mean, certainly they are the comeback kids, but really in 19 points against the minor premiers, that is tough. At least if they can get something here in the shadows of half-time and split the difference to just 12 points, that's something they can work with. To the back they go. Well taken there by Lukey Watson. They peel around inside play to Eberhardt. What about the trick play? And the skipper dots it down for the house.
How good is that? Great little set play off the line out there. Now, won't the captain be lapping that up? It's a massive strike for the Powerhouse team coming into the end of this first half as they get back within 2 tries now, and that could be a massive blow as they lead into the second half. We know what they're capable of and the type of energy they bring towards the end of the games, and that is a massive strike for the skipper, Eberhardt.
Well, the 2 hookers bothering the scorers today. Straight shootout. Who's going to get more tries by the end of the match, Lyon or Eberhardt? But first, Louis Tony. Off the post and in. Fortune favours the house. And at oranges, Harlequins, the minor premiers, lead the 2022 Dewar Shield Grand Final 26 points to 14. And, well, as we go to the halftime break, I'm happy to say we've actually got a very special guest in our commentary box. We're going to be joined in a moment by Melbourne Rebels coach Kevin Foote to give us his thoughts on the first half. Footy.
Hi, buddy. You're right, good to see you. Yeah, good, buddy.
Footy,
You want me to come
thanks
up?
for joining us.
Come up.
You can stay there, mate. That's all good. Thanks for joining us, Kevin Foote, head coach of the Melbourne Rebels. What a first half. What do you like about this?
No, awesome. I mean, great comeback by Powerhouse as well, but just awesome spectacle of rugby, and to have so many people out, I think it's going to be a cracker second half.
It has been 3 years since we've had a final series here in Victoria, but I know you've been involved with rugby in Victoria now for 4 or 5 seasons. Yep. How important is this competition for the professional side, the Rebels, to have this sort of pathway for players?
No, it's huge. I mean, obviously COVID wasn't a good thing for anyone, but to have the community out and see, everybody playing at a high level is great for us, and obviously for guys to know that there's a pathway and guys coming through. So, yeah, pretty awesome to be here together on a Saturday afternoon, and pretty special to be here. So it's awesome.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, I spied your forwards coach, Jeff Parling, in the huddle at halftime for Powerhouse. Give us some sort of indication about the role that your coaching staff have in terms of working with the local clubs, because even if it isn't in an official capacity, what sort of involvement do you have with most of these Dewar coaches?
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to connect with the coaches and make sure they connect. And in the beginning of the year, we got them together, and they came and watched us train. And they're always welcome to come anytime to Amy Park and be in part of the meetings or see how we run our program. But it was for us as the coaches making sure that we connect with them and give them the best advice that we can, and give them activities and drills to play the game they want to play. And then for the coaches to get down to trainings and actually coach some of the coaches and help out in that aspect, and then for the players just to connect with them, and as of course for the juniors, we want our players to really spend time with the juniors, make sure they become the next the heroes for the guys to come.
Now, it's a global game, no denying that, but we've seen a record number of Victorian locals who have been elevated to your Melbourne Rebels squad. Tell us what the difference is. Why is it important to have more of these local players in your squad than, say, someone from Sydney, from Brisbane, from overseas? Does it make that much of a difference, you reckon?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, now that we've got our homegrown guys actually playing for the Rebels, you just speak to a guy like Rob Leota and just about his journey and how much it means to him to play for, the Rebels and coming from Melbourne. So, Youngie, all the boys, Trevor, all the guys who've come through Melbourne, they really, really love it, and they want to be good ambassadors for the game, but they also want to be the role models for the future. So Geordie, all those guys, it's really important. And the next batch coming through, LeBron, Dewar, all these guys are coming through the ranks now. I'm really proud of them, and I know that if they be good ambassadors, that more people are going to come in and play the game.
Richard Hardwick, one of your main men in Rebels colours, out here playing for Harlequins today. I know he's always excited to get back and play club footy. He just wants to play whenever he can, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, Dickie, you'll say he lives our values. I mean, it's not only about Dickie coming out and playing club rugby today, it's the way he behaves and what he gives back to the clubs when he goes back to club rugby, and how he interacts with all the people. So I get email after email about Dickie's behaviours and his values around the game, and I'm just super proud of him and seeing him come out and play today. But all the other stuff he does at trainings and supports around clubs is pretty special.
Give us a bit of an indication. What's happening with the Rebels the end of the year? I heard rumours that there might be a couple more games. Is that right? Or are their season done? Something about a tour perhaps up north.
Yeah, so we're going to have a game. We're hoping to play against the X-Men, so put a club team together to play against us. It will be pretty special for the guys who've played well during the season, and then get a game against the Brumbies, and then we're going back to Kintetsu now that the borders are open. So we'll go back into Japan with our partners there and play a game with them in mid-October. So
certainly there are opportunities for the players out here today to be involved in some of those games, the X-Men games and those sorts of things?
Yeah, 100%. And even a trip to Japan, there could be a few guys called up into the A program or to Wallaby. So if we're short, it's awesome to come into Melbourne and see us put their hand up.
Finally, just as the teams break from their huddle, how do you see this one playing out? Give us a winner, give us a scoreline.
No, yeah, I mean, the Quins obviously got out to a great start, but I think Pass have settled down now. They're not going as hard at giving away those penalties early, so they stay patient, and I reckon it could be pretty close. I think Quins have got a lot of belief, but Pass have turned their season around, so it should be a humdinger. I won't give a score, but I reckon it's going to be pretty close.
Well, they are the comeback kings, and if anyone can do it, certainly is Powerhouse. Thanks for joining us, Kevin Foote, head coach of the Melbourne Rebels. Always a delight to have footy in the box. And, well, Harlequins breaking early from their huddle. They're already set up shop waiting for kickoff, whilst Powerhouse is still having their afternoon tea. And you've got to love a guy like that. Footy, every weekend, he's down watching one of the Dewar Shield games. trying to get any sort of intel he can on the local talent.
Yeah, I think great sign there when you get guys from the top level coming back down to the community levels and just participating and showing their involvement and, letting all these players and coaches and officials know of pathway opportunities and ways that they can remain involved in the game and what they can really strive to try and achieve. So great man to have in the Rebels building there.
Now, we touched on it. Richard Hardwick playing. Of course, his wife, Michaela Hardwick, was playing in the earlier grand final, Lindroth Cup, for Northern Panthers. They lost, unfortunately, Joshy. So hopefully the Hardwick curse doesn't strike again.
Yeah, be keen to attest.
McGovern gets us underway in the second half of the 2022 Dewar Shield. He goes long straight down the middle and picks out Lukey Cummins, who immediately puts it on the shoe, looking for touch, can't clear the head of Sean Neem. And it looks like there might be a substitution already for Powerhouse. Is that Andrew Blannon who's out there?
He came on late stages of that first half there with Garrett heading off. And
yeah, okay.
I think we may actually have a Harlequins substitution as well. Could be, is that Tui Bua on the far side?
Yeah. I think you're right. So both coaches turning to the bench. Sam Tuibua looks like he's on the field.
I think Mace has pushed into the centres.
Yeah.
And it's Leo
Wade
who's actually come off.
Wow. Okay. He was huge in the first half, Leo Wade. But Sam Tuibua, a noted finisher, will start the second half for Harlequins. So both coaches not afraid to turn to the bench at Oranges. Long arm penalty at the scrum, right in front of all the Powerhouse fans in the grandstand. And aren't they excited by that? As the temperature drops a degree or two. About 17 degrees. Still no breeze out here this afternoon at Frog Hollow. And, well, McGovern kicking right in front of his fans.
Yeah, important the Powerhouse got a positive start to this second half, and if they can be next to hit the scoreboard here, then certainly turns right back into an even contest.
So, short line out. They've got Umu loitering with intent in the back line. So often we see him used on first phase as a battering ram. Will he be a decoy on this occasion? To the back they go. Slightly overthrown, and Lyon comes away with it. And Lyon, well, that's his second line-out win of the afternoon, both from overthrows, mind you. He'll take it, though, as Cummins puts it on the shoe. Neem gets on his bike, finds Blannon, the new man. Blannon pumps it long, can't go out on the full, stays just infield, so they'll have to return it deep. And what about the run there?
He's playing like a number 8.
Pretty much. Sidaveni Peongo, such a strong ball carrier. Now they play out the back. Aitchison puts it through the hands. Tui Bua, the new man. You've got to be careful of Angus Blair. Spits out the back, so they'll have to clean up. As Ant Van Zyl looks to the pocket and finds Aitchison. McGovern indicates he's going to put up the high one.
Not much of
Sam
a chase.
Tui Bua. Oh, well, he was looking backwards when he dropped it. And gets hit high by Maxie Watson. How's the next son?
Yeah, not a lot of intent there, but just a stray arm that caught him around the neck. Wobbly kick, it's not out.
Not going to find touch. Well, schoolboy error there from Luke Cummings, who's had an otherwise perfect game. Destonis had 1 foot in touch.
Yeah, that's going to be a Powerhouse ball.
Well, they're saying Destonis caught it, then put his foot in touch. You were right in front of it, Joshy. How'd you make it?
I mean, to me, it looked like he was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Assistant referee saying he had just a foot in when he caught it and then stepped out. So, line ball call there, but goes in favour of Powerhouse, and they certainly will be happy with that.
Short line out again. Umu and Megason in the back line. Jono Lightfoot standing at 2, trying to steal, and does steal. Turnover here. So they work it straight away to Finau Vea. Finau Vea, what a damaging carry that is. Drops it in contact, though. And Powerhouse will get the scrum put in.
Certainly seen good tempo to start this second half again. Both teams energised after the break and got the messages from their coaches at half-time of where they need to focus their energy in this second half. And Powerhouse again with a set-piece opportunities. They'll look to try and really pinch off some territory, I think, and play the ball down Harlequins' end as much as they possibly can.
So Blannon lines up at fullback. He's on for Jonty Garrett, who went down with an injury in the first half, because Blannon, fly half for the third grade Powerhouse team, which won the grand final about 2 hours ago. So he's probably already had a couple under his belt. Now he's got to back up and do it for the Dewar Shield. Schmidt, short ball. Oh, and Blannon, the man drops it.
Coming back for the penalty, though.
Yeah, fortunate. But, yeah, hard to control your emotions when you win a grand final. You want to celebrate with your teammates in the shed, but the first grade coach taps you on the shoulder and says, come here, son. We might need you in the big dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Job not done.
So what's the limit? How many drinks can you have before a Dewar Shield grand final, Joshy?
No, the breath testers are around.
McGovern doesn't get the greatest purchase on that. So Eberhardt will set up shop about 40 metres out from the Quins line. They go back to this familiar short line-out formation. The 5-man option. Mitten can't make it stick. And again, another turnover. And they're looking dangerous at line-out time as Finau Vea goes for a strong carry. Ant Van Seal finds Cummins. And grand final footy here. Happy to put it on the shoe. Play in the corners as Tony goes back with Blannon. And Blannon gets a decent purchase on it, but on the angle will only find touch about 38 metres from his own try line.
Yeah, plenty of time when Cummins has been getting the ball and just giving him the ability to weigh up what best option is going to be, and peels off some nice territory, finding the grass with that kick there. So just controlling the game well, which when you're out to a lead like this is always important. Never want to shut up shop too early or anything like that, but they'll be focused on scoring again.
Claims well at the front as they set up the maul. It looks like they got Finau Vea on this occasion at the back, acting as the rudder for Harlequins. Van Zyl happy to let him do his thing as they spit out another Powerhouse player from the maul. And eventually, well, it looked like Megason tried to collapse that. They unleash it to the backs. Angus Blair goes for a dance. Wrapped up in the middle of the field. They opt to play back down the short side through Aitchison. Wide cut pass. This is interesting. Payongo getting the late offload away. He finds Destonis. And Destonis bounced into touch. Will return for the long arm penalty, though.
Yeah, certainly just trying to make the most of the advantage there, throwing the ball around a little bit, which you always like to see when they've essentially got a free play. But another opportunity now to pin this one down in the corner, which Cummings does successfully, and may well see that powerful maul that worked on 2 occasions in the first half for the Harlequins side. Jakey Lyon could be licking his lips at the possible hat-trick here.
A hat-trick. Lyon in a grand final. Wouldn't that be something? They claim it through Cam Gray. Set up the maul. Lyon wants it at the back. Hasn't got his hands on it just yet. Waiting for Finau Vea to hand it back. And he does. Now Lyon peels away. Lyon at the back looking for a hat-trick. The hook is in again.
I mean, I know Coach Chris Allen promised us 1 try to him, but 3.
3 tries. He's getting greedy now.
It's, I mean, he's just on today. He's been diving on loose balls. He's been putting kicks in. He's been finding space. Having an absolute whale of a game is the hooker Jake Lyon.
Well, we usually wait till the 3-quarter mark of the match to name our potential Paul Gascoigne medal winner. Can you give us 2 or 3 names so far that are putting their hand up for that, Joshy?
Yeah, I think certainly that man that we've just spoken about, Jake Lyon's been involved in just about everything and rewarded well with 3 meat pies from some great maul work by the whole forward pack. I like how Angus Blair's looked in the 13 jersey. He's been real damaging every time he's had the ball, just hitting it at pace and breaking tackles. Real key player there. And, I think Payongo as well. He's been playing that sort of versatile front rower role where he's been lingering in the backfield, taking counter-attacking runs off kicks and certainly making it near impossible for that first man to put him down to ground. So
and doing his job at set-piece time, which we thought might be an area that Powerhouse would fancy their chances at.
Yeah, exactly right. And lead back out to 17 points now. So going to be critical again that the Powerhouse mount another little comeback here and hit the scoreboard next. Sun really starts blaring through. It's going to be going straight into the eyes of the Powerhouse guys if it doesn't stay behind a cloud.
Thoughts are with the Powerhouse backfield because they're going to be staring straight into that sun if any kicks goes down their throat. So looking to run it from outside their 22. Big Falau for now, Vea. And then they put in the shoe. So staring straight down the sun, Blannon, he tips it off to Umu. And here comes the big number 8, Umu. Met by Destonis at halfway. And the welcoming party bring him down. He gets up and goes again. Umu.
And offside penalty. So must have been after that little re-pickup that they're off in front of the ball there.
Yep, and, well, he'll look to plug the corner here, McGovern.
Must have been an offside from the kick.
Ah, gotcha.
So maybe a bit of a long advantage there, and then option to take the scrum where the ball was kicked. So
3 tries in it at the moment. They will still got plenty of time, no doubt about that, but certainly if they can reel off one of those scores the next 5 minutes or so, that'll give them plenty of confidence. They'll have a scrum set in the middle of the field, and it'll be interesting to see the backline formation here. Well, okay. First it was a scrum, now it's not. But what it does mean is they'll have an even better opportunity from a line out from about 8 metres from the try line, Joshy.
Yeah, big opportunity. And we have seen in the first half Harlequins come down and meet the maul with counter pressure quite well to stop it going forward. Although the second time they attempted it, Powerhouse were ready with that little set piece move that got Jared Eberhardt in for the try.
They claim it at the back. They try another trick play. Umu peeled away. They wrapped him up pretty quick smart, so they've got to return to the maul. And Ant Whelan lends his shoulder to get an extra metre or 2. It collapses, though, and that means a scrum put in for the defending side. And Harlequins escape without punishment.
Yeah, a couple of occasions now they've attempted the driving maul and probably just haven't set it up quite as well as what Harlequins have done, with the ball just getting trapped in the middle there on that occasion. Saw them peel it one wide with Williame Umu trying to catch a little bit of a gap between the Harlequins defenders, but they're up to the task and able to hold that one in and gain the turnover from the maul.
So Oscar Gilding, interestingly here, standing very wide for Harlequins. Almost as though they want to run it. Interesting shape. That's what they do. They wanted to do a little midfield dink. Oh, bounce was important. He almost came away with it, Angus Blair. And, well, I wonder how much of that play call was based on the advantage, because if you looked at their formation from the scrum before they even had the advantage, it sort of suggested as though they wanted to run it there.
Yeah, they were set up for a couple of different options there. So I think, yeah, any time you do get that advantage, you're certainly willing to try the riskier of those options. And a nicer bounce, and that could have been lights out for Angus Blair. But, yeah, it didn't sit up well enough for him on that occasion. So penalty now allows him to pinch an extra 20 metres or so.
Substitution, and it's the man who changed the course of the prelim last week. Jimmy Chans, the man with the match sealer against Melbourne Unicorns. He comes on in place of Thomas Bramley. And can James Chans wave his wand and create magic for a second week in a row?
Been a real solid player all season. Thomas Bramley, great steadiness at number 9 and directs backs and forwards around the park really well.
I think he played for Northern Suburbs last year up in Sydney, Joshy. So, well-travelled young footballer. But Jimmy Chan's time to shine in the middle as Harlequins look to use their back line. Bit of a show and go there from Alex Mace. Good carry from the wing, now playing in the centres. As Cummings tries to push it to the edge. Aitchison puts it on the shoe. He's overcooked it.
Yeah, a little panic there from the normally very composed Taylor Aitchison. Just saw the defence rushing up from the outside in and cutting down the option to pass it wide. So tried to pull off a bit of territory, but sent it straight into touch.
So it'll be Eberhardt with the line-out throw. 5-man option, equally spaced. Now they move to the back. Watson. Well, that throw looked about as straight as the dog's hind leg.
Yeah, Eberhardt knows it.
Yeah. And as I say that, taking a quick glance, Joshy, to the Powerhouse reserve bench. And as if on cue, Agape Tuigamala, the replacement hooker, gets to his feet, perhaps giving a little bit of a hint to the coach that he's ready if he's called upon to enter this match.
Yeah, I know anyone sitting on a bench in a grand final, they're always licking their lips, making sure they are warm that whole time, ready to get on the field for as many minutes as they can.
Long arm penalty, that's a relief for Harlequins. And an easy way to escape their own half.
Yeah, Maxie Watson looking a little bit confused at that one.
Eberhardt getting a bit of attention here.
Yeah, just hit the ground a bit awkwardly, sort of head first as that scrum collapsed.
So this would give us an indication of how that leg is doing. He came in with a bit of a injury cloud hanging over him.
It looks to be what it actually is that's getting looked at.
That right knee of his, it looks decidedly dodgy. 2 weeks ago when he first went down against Moorabbin, and we were very surprised today when we saw him run out onto the field. There's no indication over the last fortnight that he would be fit to play again this season, but I don't know. Some recovery.
Maybe he had the magic needle before playing.
Cummings only pulls off about 15 metres on the kick. So Lyon will be throwing in from the 10-metre line in enemy territory. Fully stacked line out for the Quins. Lightfoot at the front, claims it with ease, and now they set up the maul. Lyon flexing his muscle at the back. We've seen this before. Passes it back to Fanal Vea. And look at the length they've got in that maul at the moment. Makes it so hard to defend as they peel off another 5 or 6 metres. This shows no signs of stopping. And if they hold it in there a little bit longer, they'll be inside the 22, which they are. And they've already peeled off 20 metres. Eventually it spits out to the backs. Wide cut pass. Blair. Show and go from the centre. Finally gets it away to Gilding. Gilding takes it to the line. Gilding. He's within 5 metres of the line. Van Zyl goes digging. Hard line to Stonis. Certainly deserves a try this afternoon, the number 7. Van Zyl. He gets hassled at the back. And great counter shove coming there from Powerhouse. They'll get the scrum put in.
Yeah, really well timed off the back of the ruck there defensively to put the pressure on Van Zyl and force the error there. Probably a little 50-50 as to whether or not you're going to give away the penalty in that sort of situation. But when you're down by a couple of tries, you're probably got to take a few chances like that here. And it does pay off for Powerhouse on this occasion. But, geez, we saw the power of that maul again previously.
Well, here come the changes. Williami Umu off for Atanasia. And for Quins, we've got Paris Dale coming on for Jono Lightfoot and Master and Commander Angus Arundel. Well, I'll tell you what, if anyone can provide inspiration for Quins, it's Gussie. Been around the chops for a long, long time now.
And Paris Dale as well, previous skipper of Harlequins, and I mean, pound for pound, one of the biggest hearted players I think in this competition. Always has a big account of himself.
I mean, what about the strength of that bench that you can turn to, Joshy, with a quarter of the match to go in the grand final, to have 2 former captains of your first grade side to come on. Look at that. First scrum. Oh.
Had the
Decipher that for me, Joshy.
The call's on the binding there, actually. So, yeah, maybe just getting a little help with the extra push by not having an arm where they were supposed to.
So a let off here for Powerhouse.
It's a good kick from McGovern.
Still down by 3 scores. Certainly not beyond them to rack up 3 tries in the final 20 minutes of this match. But, well, it's going to take some effort against the favourites, Harlequins.
Never know, even 2 converted tries and a penalty.
And, well, penalties. We saw what can happen with Premiership. Dowie from Kiwi Hawthorn winning the match with a, 53-metre kick on the angle. So it could be a day for goal kickers to decide these grand finals, as Midden claims it at the front and Chan gets a nice clear pass away. That finds Megison in the midfield. They've got the advantage as well, so they swing down the short side. Ta'ai tries to do a bit of a number, gets wrapped up by Lyon, and will return for the long arm penalty. High shot put on.
We've got to have a trademark second half Ta'ai line break at some point, don't we?
Yeah, he's due for one. He's been contained well this afternoon by Harlequins. And Chris Allen did say during the week, during the interview, that the midfield was the area that concerned them most from Powerhouse. Schmidt and Ta'ai, arguably the best midfield pairing in the Jewish Shield this year. Barely spoken their names today, Joshy.
Yeah, really haven't seen a lot of ball coming out to them, and I think so much of that just down to the great defence that we've seen from the Harlequin side, not allowing Powerhouse to string too many phases together.
They've called a short line out here. Megison loitering in the back line. Easily won by Watson at the front. Fake switch, finds Atanasia eventually. He gets hit hard in the middle of the field. They sweep back down the short side. Set play, Maxi Watson pops up. Watson brushing off defenders. He's within 2 metres of the line. They come down the short side again. Quick hands will do it. And there he is, Johnny on the spot, Sean Neem.
Great work there from the Powerhouse side. Just a bit of patience after a set piece from the line out. Mixing it up a little bit there. A couple of good runs from Atanasia just to get him over that advantage line. And quick hands with the numbers overlap finds them getting into the corner as they hit back midway through this second half.
The comeback, kids. It starts, Joshy. Here we go. We've seen this before.
I mean, looking at the watch, it's comeback o'clock, I think.
And the music getting involved as well. DJ's getting fired up in the background.
It's a bit early for Free From Desire. That's usually most teams' victory song at this point. Big kick for Tony.
Yeah, this has got big consequences, this kick. Nails this. They're down by just 10. As you said, a converted try and a penalty, the difference. And a chance to go to golden point. Extra time. Tony pulls out the 3-iron.
Nailed it.
Nails it.
Bit of voice in the crowd all of a sudden.
Yeah. All of those without a team who have been here for the previous games. I fancy they're going for powerhouse here, Joshy. Love an underdog story. We've seen 2 underdogs win on field 1 this afternoon. Today, in fact. Could it be 3 upsets in a row? Cummins goes long. Finds Tony, man of the moment. Keeps it in fields. Gilding. Finds Aitchison. Finds Tuabua, the replacement. Tries to do a dance. Tuabua cuts through the middle. Look dangerous there. Options left and right. They come back down the short side. Payongo tips it onto Lyon. Lyon with the hidden spin. Yes, what about that play there? Will Mitten take a bow.
Yeah, great pressure there. Just not the numbers at ruck time to secure the ball there for Harlequins, despite a good run after a double hit and spin from Jakey Lyon. But, yeah, it's another big moment here in this second half as McGovern will want to peel off as many metres as he can again with this kick.
And he pumps that into the safety of touch. Oh, you can feel the tide turning. You can feel it, and the crowd can too. Starting to get a little bit excited now on the sidelines. It's going to be a substitution. It looks like Lossi Silili is coming on for Taylor Aitchison. That's a big call as well. The experience of Aitchison coming to the sideline. Eberhardt putting in big minutes today, the hooker. Kudos to him. Not many people expected him to even start, and we're already up to about 65-odd minutes.
His hands all over that one.
Yeah, Jimmy Chance can't get a play on it, and this is huge, Joshy. Penalty. Chance to drill this into the corner, and suddenly the comeback kids are looking good.
If they can score next, then we are going to be set up for yet another hot finish.
What is it with this team and finishing strongly, Joshy? What is it about them? It's almost like they need to be trailing to get their, I was going to say, arse into gear. We can say that on the...
I think so. It's not too rude these days.
There we go. It's almost like they thrive on the pressure that comes from being behind.
Sort of felt a bit like that with some of my university assignments. You had to wait till the day before, back yourself into a corner to get the job done.
At the back they go, Lukey Watson. They peel off. Atanasia runs at Lyon. Lyon meets him. Chand. Schmidt. Ta'ai. Ta'ai met hard. They're not giving him an inch this afternoon. The dangerous centre for Powerhouse. Jimmy Chan goes digging. Finds Will Mitten, and Mitten gets minced meat. Great shot on the lock. Blannon pops up at first receiver. Looks for Schmidt on the short side. Schmidt can't find any holes there. Slow ball at the breakdown. I fancy that might have been stolen, in fact. And Tuibua sits in the pocket and pumps it long right into the grandstand.
Yeah, pretty great defensive pressure there from Harlequins. Didn't really matter if they were keeping it short or going wide. They awesome line speed to get up quickly and shut any opportunity down. And if you're getting that line speed met with big contact as well, it's going to be really hard for any attack.
So they call the full 7-man line out here, do Harlequins, as big Cameron Gray claims it, and they return to what they do best, the maul. There's a powerhouse body at the bottom there trying to collapse it. They've done a great job of keeping their feet, though. And Lyon marching forward. Brought down eventually just short of halfway, and illegally so. Well, I'll tell you what, when they review this match, if Harlequins go on to win it, they'll pinpoint the line out and the rolling maul as what it was that won them this match.
Yeah, and we've seen what a strength that's normally been for Powerhouse in recent weeks and throughout the season. But Harlequins showing they're more than up to the task of matching it with them and certainly winning that battle today. The maul's been really well structured the whole game, peeling off plenty of metres and resulting in 3 tries as well.
Gray with another claim at line-out time. Hardwick comes bustling away. Claws his way up to the 22 and gets him on the front foot. Cummings. Well, flat pass there. Wanted to play out the back. Decided to take it into contact, did Alex Mace. And, well, long arm penalty. Chan wants to play quick, not allowed to by Ollie Kellett.
Probably doing them a favour there, I think. McGovern just down on a knee at the moment.
Yeah, the number 10 not looking good.
It was a strong hit from Adanasia there, who put the ball runner on his back facing towards the Powerhouse defenders and allowed for an easy attempted pilfer there. So they've certainly got plenty of fight in them still. And it looks like we've got Josh Crichton taking the field for Harlequins. Ant Van Zyl still on the field, so it's going to be Mace coming off, I think. So, as we've seen a couple of times this year, Crichton will play out on that wing.
Well, Mace finished up in the centres, I fancy, at some point there. So,
dare say we see Tui Dewar into the centres?
Yeah, quite possibly. So, Joshy Crichton on.
Yeah, we've got something going on here. Ollie Kellett having a chat with Eberhardt.
So Cameron Gray getting a bit of a word from Ollie Kellett. They're shaping up as though they've got the penalty powerhouse, so it must be something to do with Cam Gray from an earlier infraction. So McGovern looking to dig his way out of trouble, and that's a decent kick. Peels off about 35 metres.
He's had a couple of good kicks for touch in the last 10 minutes or so to peel off some territory and put Powerhouse in an attacking position.
Well, I'm looking at this bench, and I'm still wondering for Powerhouse when we're going to see Tua Gamala, Lorenzo Fu enter the action. We're into the about final 10 minutes, Joshy. Yeah, long time to keep them up the sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, those two you mentioned in particular we've seen come on in recent weeks and have a really good impact.
Mitten finds Maxi Watt. And Watson brought down on the 10-metre line. He's been contained well as well today. The prop for Powerhouse. We know he loves to go for a carry. So they work it into the middle. Matt Megerson losing metres. The ball spits out the back, and Hardwick is all over that. Hardwick gets the offload away. Beautiful pop pass to Paris Dale. They work it to the right. Destonis pops up at first receiver. Taking it to the line. Payongo with the beautiful grubber kick. Blannon has to clean up. Blannon puts it on the shoe. And Cummins is back there. Tui Dewar now. We know he loves broken play. Finds Gilding instead. Gilding. What a spot tackle that was from Ta'ai. Forcing the error. Justin Ta'ai, big play.
Yeah, that's an important one there because they had a bit of space and time to try and mount the counter-attack there, but just hanging onto the bootlaces there of Oscar Gilding and force the error in the tackle.
Well, they're all cramping up. There's about 3 powerhouse players down at the moment. You've got Megason, Manny Te'o, and it looks like for a moment there, Justin Ta'ai, all just trying to stretch out their legs. So what's been a very long season and long into this match as well. Cramps are starting to show. Cam Gray now down for Harlequins, and the tea and coffee brigade, they don't need another invitation. They're all out there now in their high vis.
Yeah, playing on a soft surface as well, you always sink a little bit further into it. Muscles in your legs have to work that bit harder just to keep your feet and stay stable. And yeah, not uncommon to see players certainly feeling the effects of that as we come into the later stages of it.
So it's been a day of upsets out here on Grand Final Day. For anyone who's been keeping up to date on the Rugby Victoria social pages. And as I say that, Eberhardt moves to the sideline. The skipper taken off for Powerhouse. And in his place, Agape Tuagamala. There's a guy who can bring some impact.
Definitely. Big stint from the skipper, especially off the back of big injury cloud coming into the game. So, yeah, has left his mark on the game, but Tuigamala will be looking to come in and try and have an impact.
So Cam Gray just getting his ankle taped quite heavily at the moment. But, yeah, lots of upsets today. I won't go through all of them, but I think there have been more underdogs win today than favourites of the 5 previous games. So that should give you some indication about some of these results. Yeah, Powerhouse still down by 10 points with about maybe 10 minutes to go. Of course, we're in the referee's hands, but still a bit of work to do if they're to continue this theme throughout the day of the underdog getting up.
Yeah, have just been signalled 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. Plenty of time, Joshy. Plenty of time.
An age.
Good shove from Quins. They managed to get it out, though. Wide cut pass. Ta'ai takes it to the line. Ta'ai bumps off one. Haven't seen that too much this afternoon. Jimmy Chan returns the play to Lukey Watson, running it to Stonis. They load the short side. Oh, Blannon left the butter on his fingertips from the morning's crumpet and knocks it on.
The pass was just a little bit loopy there from Chand, and there was a bit of confusion whether it was for McGovern or Blannon there, and late reaction there just resulted in a little knock on at the base of his feet from Andrew Blannon. All these sort of breaks in play now, certainly playing into the house, playing into the hands of Harlequins as every second ticks away.
Now we've seen teams, because the near side of the pitch on the near side of the scrum has got this real bog as Ant Van Zyl taps and goes quickly. Eyes up play from the winger. He looks across to the edge. And putting something on a bit of a number there is Joshy Crichton, who gets up into the 22. Destonis, front foot ball. Has to work very hard to get over the A-line as they find Paris Dale now getting involved. Counter ruck comes from Powerhouse. I fancy they've stolen it. Spits out their hands. Falau Finau Vea. And they'll get the long arm penalty here, Powerhouse.
Yeah, starting to become pretty crucial that Powerhouse can get a score on the board in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, probably about 7 minutes, the indications are as well. There we go. They're taking off their goal kicker. Huge call, Joshy. Louis Tony, done. Now, don't get me wrong, Blessing Sewa, incredible finisher for Powerhouse, but taking off your goal kicker when you're down by 10, always a big call.
Yeah, definitely right there. So, see if that becomes a factor in these closing stages.
Sawaya, he's had plenty of impact when he's come on this year as Megason plays out the back, looking for Schmidt. Gets chopped down pretty quickly by Angus Blair.
It was well read there by Blair.
Yeah.
Just couldn't.
Now, this is what they need. If they can drill this into the corner, they'll have about 6 minutes left on the clock to try to pull off a try, get back to halfway, and then try to steal it late, Joshy.
Yeah, and you just feel if Powerhouse can manage to get a try in this next couple of minutes, that they'll have a massive energy boost and really come in hard to finish this game.
Quins up by 10. About 6 minutes to play. The meat pie, I note, during the week tipped Harlequins by 9 points, so they're not far off at the moment.
Pretty accurate lately, the pie.
Strong carry there. Will Mitten showing no signs of that shoulder injury. And as I say that, penalised for not releasing.
Payongo on the ball that time.
Getting a whisper from the assistant referee. Bang on 5 minutes to go, Joshy.
Yeah, a couple of times I've had a few little ventures down into the Quins territory there, but just unable to capitalise. Going to need something to go their way pretty quickly, Powerhouse here.
Right, you are. And if you're, well, smart money might be on Quins to maul it here and try to soak up a 30, 45 seconds, draw a penalty.
It's worked so far.
Yeah. That's where they go.
Well,
great sack, though, from Ant Whelan in the middle. They got the long arm penalty nevertheless. So a chance to roll the dice. That's what they do. Gilding out the back. Gilding showing clean pair of heels. Puts it on the shoe. Blessing is in the backfield to clean up. Almost loses his feet. Destonis is there. What a shot put on by Gilding. And a turnover. Chance now for Harlequins. Could this be the nail in the coffin? They work it to the left. Massive overlap. Need to get it through the hands. Tuibua puts it out to Cam Gray. Harlequins are in the corner. And that may just be the grand final.
Yeah, geez. Just seeing the class across the park there from everyone in that Harlequins team. Great shift of the ball wide. Oscar Gilding with his pace and putting on a big hit to force the turnover. Classic little flick pass around the corner from the Paris Dale as he finds Cameron Gray to put it down in the corner. And lead now beyond 2 tries with only a few minutes left to go. That's going to be too much for Powerhouse to overcome.
Well, that says something a lot about culture. You know, if you're looking for the 1%ers, kick chase is always listed off by coaches as an area that reflects the attitude of a team. When that kick went through from Gilding, first man to wrap up the danger man, Blessing Sawaya in the backfield was Destonis. The number 7 with the biggest engine in Dewar Shield smacked him hard, managed to get a turnover as well at the breakdown. And while Powerhouse was still trying to get back on side, Quins were working it into the corner. Cummings, ice cold, makes no mistake.
Yeah, he's controlled the game nicely today, Cummings, and been classy with the boot as well. And scoreline pushing out now 38 points to 21.
17 points of difference. And I don't even know if the comeback kids can make this work now. Tuibua peels off the kickoff, goes for a run. Hit by Tuigamala on the far side. Ant Van Zyl goes digging. He finds Lyon, spins out of 1. Makes about 3 metres over the A-line before they set up shot on the 10-metre line. And Hardwick It's been busy, man. Look at those post-contact meters. Richard Hardwick into the backfield. Blanton to beat. Hardwick gets the fend on. Needs support, though. He's got Master and Commander right up the inside of him. Tui Bua now puts on a bit of a dance and is brought down on the 22. Have they got more points in them yet? They work it. Paris Dale. Ant Van Zyl now, cool head, happy to slow things down a little bit. Chip and chase. Bounce important. Blannon allows it to drop and gets a knock on there, Angus Blair. So we'll have to pause for a scrum. But what about the excitement in that play, Joshy?
Yeah, Richard Hardwick just showing that, he is a professional caliber player today. He's just got an amazing leg drive to keep pushing through contact and made a couple of breaks like that today to set his team up for some big territory gains. And I think that is going to be just about all she wrote today.
So Hardwick will play on. Great to see the Melbourne Rebel, the Wallaby, in fact, I should say. He's been one of the leading lights for Harlequins here today. Of course, their last grand final triumph coming back in 2017 when they beat the Unicorns. So it's been a long time between drinks for one of the big Melbourne clubs. As Jimmy Chans looks to play quickly from the scrum penalty. Finds Tavai. Blessing. Sawaya. Brought down inside his own 22. Here comes the counter ruck. And they're all over Chance like a cheap suit.
Stern has stolen that.
And a turnover. Van Zyl kicks it into touch. And Quinners are winners.
Yeah, well-deserved victory for what has been the best side of the Dewar Shield all year. Great team with a lot of weapons and structure all over the park, but you can certainly see just the level of camaraderie and morale amongst that team. They're enjoying their footy the whole season, and they come out victors and deserved premiers today.
38-21, Harlequins come out on top over Powerhouse. It has been something of a season for Chris Allen and his men. Wrapped up the minor premiership with a few weeks to go in the competition, and everyone was left trying to chase them. It was a fairy tale run from Powerhouse. They scraped their way into the finals after only winning 2 of their opening 7. No one tipped them at the halfway point to make the finals. They did. They scratched their way into the 4, and then huge upsets in the semi and prelim. So, huge tip of the hat to Eric Tom and his men for what they've been able to do to get here to the grand final. But today is all about Harlequins. Second grade premiers backing up now with first grade. A day of celebration for the club. Thanks so much for joining us throughout the season, not just today, here on the Home of Rugby, the Rugby Victoria Facebook page. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing these matches to you on the Facebook live feed each week. And after 3 years away with no grand final, what a wonderful occasion to return to. The Victorian rugby community, winners, losers, and those not competing today can celebrate. A beautiful day to bring the community back together. And congratulations to all the teams who have emerged victorious today. And we can't wait to do it all again next year on the Rugby Victoria Facebook page. Thanks for joining.
Harlequins, Powerhouse. The both teams start making their way over here to the center.
Anderson tracks all the way back in. It does. And he's locked in, but what a goal!